Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I received a bit of criticism on the Discord and I would like to discuss it because I think it's extremely valid. So Anna on the Discord mentioned, and let me just pull up the post here to just read it directly. I'm having trouble telling which launches are simulations and which aren't. Like, I feel that most of the flights in this episode got reverted, but I don't remember you declaring them simulated before launching. Did you drop that rule at some point? Like, I figured that most of the launches of the Duna fuel production thingy were simulated because there was so much troubleshooting, but this doesn't seem like the same situation. And Anna is absolutely correct that I have a bit of a novel interpretation of the simulated launch rule at this point. And I'm actually going to pause the game here while we talk about this because I don't want the life support ticking down. And not that I think that that's going to be a problem, I just want to optimize it a little bit. So the way I've been thinking about the launch simulation rule of late, and this is 100% valid criticism, this is a novel interpretation that I didn't mention. What I've been thinking about it is when we have a new launch vehicle, like what we used for this, when we have a new launch vehicle, all launches are simulations until such a time as we achieve an unequivocal orbital insertion, at which point, like where we are now, this has graduated from being a simulation. And the purpose behind that interpretation of the rule is so that we spend more time iterating and flying and less time going through abort procedures. Because I don't think abort procedures are particularly interesting content. I would much rather be making the content about fast iteration and flying. I think that's more interesting. Once we know what the problem is, I want to immediately snap back and fix the problem and get that dealt with. Now, maybe you guys disagree with me on that, and that would be absolutely fair if you do. But that's what I'm thinking about it right now. So I'm going to try to be more clear in the future about when launches are simulated versus when they are actual launches. Future launches of this craft at this point would be non-simulated. This craft was simulated until such a time, basically last episode, when the episode ended, I graduated it in my mind from being simulated to non-simulated at that point. So that's what I'm thinking right now, and the entire purpose of that rule has always been to make it so that I can still mess up when we have a stable launch vehicle, but we can design a new launch vehicle very quickly. That's the idea. Hopefully I've explained that well, but the criticism is absolutely taken to heart. I am definitely going to try to declare more frequently when something is or is not simulated. I will try to do that at least once per episode if we're working on a simulated design iteration. So for now, this is not simulated, and we need to go to Eve. So let's go ahead and burn prograde somewhere. Let's think here. It probably doesn't matter too much where we burn prograde. Let's just do it somewhere around here. We could slingshot for this. Okay, so that's giving us an escape and a second escape. So you can see here that as we burn prograde, we're going to be dropping down our periapsis. And that must be an encounter with, like, Moon or something. If we set Eve as our target here, and we burn a little bit more prograde, yeah, I'm guessing this is a Moon encounter as we go forward here. Yeah, that's definitely a Moon encounter. So now we're not getting a prediction. So that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to back off on this until we get our prediction, and then we'll go for this. That seems fine. Okay, so let's lock to that node. This is going to be a fairly slow turn, but let's just go ahead and physics warp as we go through this turn. That'll be absolutely fine. Oh, right. We drop out of that physics warp because we're in space near. We can grab this gravity scan, I suppose, and collect all. Okay, already stored. So our gravity scan needs to be reset then. So let's open this guy. And where's that negative gravioli detector? I think it's on this side. Yeah, so we need to review this. Or actually, we could transfer this data No, we can't transfer it to here. We'd have to take the data. I'm just going to reset this. It's fine. But we can grab this gravity scan near the Highlands for sure. We'll collect that. That'll be absolutely fine. Okay, so that seems good for now. And let's continue to physics warp forward here. Grasslands, that's okay. Not a concern. We've already got that. Okay, so we're now going to warp around, but this is going to be interrupted a number of times. So I'm just going to warp us like this. So Highlands, Grasslands, Highlands, Grasslands, that's all fine. Badlands, we can definitely grab that. So this is going to get us a good amount of science. We're definitely interested in collecting some more science. We're not maxed out on that, and that's the reason why we wanted to do this with a manned flight. Okay, mountains, we'll grab this. Perfect. And collect that data. What else do we have here? We're going over different biomes a lot. That's not surprising. Okay. Oh, this is a good long one. Highlands, Grasslands, sure. This is shores, we've already got it. That seems good. Grasslands, shores, water. We've got it, so that's fine. Shores again, water again. Shores again. Grasslands. You know what we should do? We should set the science threshold to be 2. If we do that, then it won't give us all of this. And then we can just warp forward. And if it stops our warp, then we know that it's going to be fine. We don't have to do this stuttering. So this is absolutely okay. And I've passed our burn point. Let's go ahead and just fire this up. It doesn't really matter that much when we do the burn. This is fine. So we're going to get accelerated right on up here. This is going to burn out most of this tank, which this is what this tank was intended for. That's absolutely fine. And then once we get out of the Kerbal system, we'll see if we need to do an inclination change. I'm not 100% certain about that, and I have no idea what our timing window is like here. So that could be exciting for our life support if we have to do a bunch of phasing orbits. That's what I'm mostly concerned about right now with this sort of interplanetary life support thing. We are not launching at any particular time, and that's understood. If we have to go rehydrate these guys, we have to go rehydrate them, and that's fine. So we'll see how it goes. This is going to be a bit of a long burn. Let's warp through this. And eventually this will get finished up, but it's going to be a bit more of a burn here for sure. So we're now still in space near. We should be going up into in space high soon. What is that, 250? That might be 250. Okay, so in space near deserts, I'm going to grab that one for sure. And we'll collect that. Okay, so we have now escaped, and we're continuing to burn here, but I think I'm going to cut our engines, and we're just going to sit here. So this is where our orbit is going to be, and we have Eve as our target here. This is our ascending node here, 2.1 degrees. I want to see if we burned here, what would this look like in terms of a... Yeah, this is not ideal. So if we wanted to have a decent intercept timing here, we're going to end up coasting for a good long time. And life support is absolutely a concern for that. Okay, so it's going to end up being about here. And this is an inclination issue. So we should, at this point, come to the ascending node here. And we should do an ascending node burn. So we're going to the other direction. We're going to go this way. Oh, in space high. We'll grab both of these. Okay, so that seems fine. We need to fix our inclination here to be approximately right there or so. Looks good. And now I'm going to move this to being 3 instead of 2 for our threshold. There we go. So that looks okay. We're going to collect all of that data. That looks great. Now the question is, how's our life support going to hold out? Well, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, we have a lot of oxygen. Our amount of food and water seems a lot lower. But I guess 16.2 compared to 3593 and the same size of hex can. It should be okay. I think we'll have enough, hopefully. So we're going to be able to burn a lot of this fuel yet on our inclination change, and that seems great. So we're just going to head over to that node. We can grab a gravity scan here, but I actually missed it. Okay, we can grab this one over the highlands. Can you stop disappearing on me? Thank you. There we go. Cool. So I'll bring this right on around. Okay, we're now in position, and we can grab the gravity scan here and collect all of that. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to warp, but we'll be interrupted a number of times with these. And I'm just going to put this up here and pin it. There we go. So let's get out of here. But on the way, of course, we're going to see potentially additional things to grab. Okay, grasslands. We'll take that. Perfect. What else do we have? We may or may not have much of anything. As we're on this trajectory, this is going to change fairly slowly. Mountains. Sounds great. We'll take that. Okay. We'll continue to proceed onward here. And I'm keeping an eye on this situation. It looks relatively good. Okay, Badlands. We can definitely take that. And we're going to be out of communications range fairly soon. We don't have any comms on this, but that's because Jeb is intended to be the pilot. Hopefully he does not run out of oxygen or food or water, but, you know. If he does, maybe we can, like, shove Tenon out the airlock. Or just tell Tenon to hold her breath. That would be fine. So we're going to be exiting the sphere of influence of Kerbal very, very soon here. Okay, we're now in space high over the sun. Is this the first time we've actually done this? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. So we're going to grab our crew report. We're going to grab our temperature scan. We're going to grab our mystery goo observation, atmospheric pressure scan, gravity scan, material study, and magnetometer report. So that's a lot of things. We're going to have to reset that, and we're not going to actually be too concerned about, like, optimally grabbing all of this. Let's grab the EVA report, and then we're going to head up over this direction. And we're going to reset the material study. We're going to open the service bay. And inside of here, we're going to reset the mystery goo containment unit. So we're only grabbing one of these in space high over the sun, I think. We could do two. We could do two. So we can conduct this material study here, and then we can grab the mystery goo. Observe that. Okay. So we'll keep both of those experiments, and we can collect this data and restore both of these. So Tenon now has that data, and that's going to be stored in our capsule. Okay, beautiful. It's reset and stored in the capsule. That looks good. So the material study, the mystery goo observation, and the gravity scan would all be great, but let's just collect all of the data that we can here. There we go. And I'm going to bump this up at this point to a threshold of, well, I'm going to put this back at a threshold of 0.1. For now, that's fine. We know that we're not going to grab any more data in space high over the sun. Okay, so let's get ourselves oriented around here. There we go. And now we're going to warp 127 days, and we'll see how much that hurts. The answer is quite a lot. Okay, I'm really not loving what we've got going on for the food. Yeah, I'm really not loving what we've got going on for the food. So I'm setting Kerbal as our target here. And I would like to do a burn sometime around here-ish. And just see about bringing ourselves back to Kerbal. So we're a little retrograde of it, so we're going to need to burn back this direction. And you can see that getting closer and closer up over here. So we're going to need to twist our orbit in a little bit. And we're going to need to come in something like this. So I'm aborting this flight, and the reason why I'm doing this is life support. I'm very, very concerned about our life support situation. This is already 70 days, and I would like to bring this even closer. But you can see how much DV we're spending on this. So this is now going to be in 54 days. This is now going to be in 46. And we've got enough DV to do this. But that's going to be one heck of a burn. So that's going to be in 33 days. And how long have we been in this? 132. Okay, this should be fine. So we're going to go ahead and align to that node, and we're going to do an abort burn here. So what we're going to need is and to be clear, we proofed the launch vehicle. It's the life support at this point that's a problem. So we're going to need some carbon scrubbers for sure for oxygen. We're going to need wastewater reclamation. That's easy enough to add. The main concern that I have right now is going to be food. So let's align for this. We'll bring this back and then we'll address it. So that's fine for now, but yeah, food is absolutely a major, major concern. Water and oxygen is easy enough. But we're going to need a lot more food supply. So we could bring a greenhouse for that. That's a theoretical possibility. But let's just get into position for this burn, and that'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to start this burn in about a minute. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, so this is going to be a very lengthy burn. Let's go ahead and physics warp this, because we've got a lot of burning to do to make it back to Kerbal. Okay, so there we go. And my question is, what's our Kerbal periapsis looking like here? So this is not a great periapsis. We're going to want to dial that in a bit, and we'll do that once we are in this position here. So we'll just finish up until we have some sort of an encounter here. But yeah, we definitely need to bring this in. We're going to be coming in pretty quick, and I want to dial in where this burn actually goes. So we've got about another 1,400 meters per second in this burn. This is a big abort burn, right? This is absolutely huge. This was not the ideal scenario, but it's absolutely necessary. We need some sort of carbon dioxide reclamation, some sort of wastewater reclamation, and then we need food. So food is going to be the difficult part here. So we're going to be ditching these tanks shortly. There we go. And along with them, whoa. Why did we lose attitude there? Oh, it's because we overshot. It's fine. Okay, so what I want to do now is we want to do this burn basically at this exact moment. And sometime up over here, and I'm going to put us in kill rot. Sometime up over here, we're going to want to just bring this in. So we want to just bring it in something like this. This is a much better approach, but it's still not ideal. And I want to then do something kind of like this. I don't really care too much about the actual approach, but that is better. That's only 60 meters per second to get us into a far better position. We're going to have to do a big braking burn. No doubt about that. But that's fine. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do this burn right now. It doesn't really matter if we do it now or in an hour and 47 minutes. So that looks okay. Okay, that's 0.5 meters per second. 0.2. What is this at? 74? Looks good. If we were to do a braking burn here, how much will this be? So that's quite a lot. So what that ends up meaning is that I want to position ourselves at... I want to get rid of this for the moment. I want to position ourselves at orbital normal plus, I believe. And I want to drop this down to about 50 kilometers so we can aero brake. That'll be necessary. Actually, I'm going to go a little lower than that. Maybe like 45 kilometers. Ooh, that was way too much. That was way too much. Okay, we're going to need to thrust limit this. So we're going to need to thrust limit this guy down to about 0.5% here. And then just gently burn this here. Maybe not that gently. Okay. We're bringing it down nicely. And this is a little too much on this side now. That's fine. Do we want to be coming in on the North Pole like this? Well, not necessarily, but let's just bring this around. I think it's okay. I don't actually mind. Coming in at this inclination is okay. So we're just going to target somewhere around, I think, I'm going to go for about 35 kilometers. Now we're going to be coming in fast. So aero braking is going to be a thing, and we're also going to want to add a retrograde maneuver here and brake as much as possible regularly. We've got 1696 meters per second here, so this is already more than what we have naturally. So we need to pull this back to be somewhere around here. We could do a radial retrograde burn. That may be the way to go, but I think a pure retrograde burn as we enter is maybe better. We can think about that. So if we were to put this about here, right? And instead of this being straight retrograde like this, do minus 1,000 like that. And then bring it in to be, yeah, this is 18 kilometers right now. Bring this up to be about 30. And then just continue to tune it like that. So this would be retrograde here. And then a little bit of radial here. And this is almost the maximum amount of fuel that we have. Almost. So that's going to get rid of a very, very large amount of our fuel. We have 1696. So like that. And that'll put us in an orbit, in a decaying orbit, more specifically. I like it. So that looks good, and we're just going to do that. That'll be a long burn time right now, but we need to unthrust limit this. 48 seconds. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, let's warp forward 31 days and hope that we don't end up running out of life support by then. I think we'll be okay for 31 days. Yeah. So in we come here, and I have no idea where Kerbal is right now. We're probably coming pretty close to it. We're still over the sun for the moment, though. Where are you, Kerbal? I have no idea. I have no idea where Kerbal is. But we're on the way in. So that looks good. I'm a little surprised that we're only traveling at 10,000x. But that seems fine for the moment. So we've got about 14 days to go here on this warp. And we know Kerbal will be around somewhere. No doubt about that. 9 days away now. Yeah, we're going to be fine on life support, so that looks good. Are we pulling from this life support? No, so it's working via the staging system. That's really good. I'm glad to see that. We're about 2 days away now. Okay, now we're entering the SOI of Kerbal. It's around, there it is. That's Kerbal there. So we're going to need to move this up to be, once again, at about 3 so that our warping isn't broken. There we go. And we're going to start up this re-entry burn here. Or not really re-entry, but kind of a radial retrograde burn soon. 1702. That's interesting. Well, we're going to want to target our periapsis pretty low, around 30-ish, and that'll be fine. So we've got about 40 seconds until this burn. Ah. We'll definitely gravity scan here. So we're going to get some science out of this at least. And we definitely learned a lesson that we're going to need for interplanetary travel. We're going to need some sort of life support recycling. There's no doubt about that. Food is my main concern. I'm not 100% sure how we're going to tackle that one yet. So that'll be interesting. You can see we're traveling very, very quickly right now. And that's absolutely understood. So we're going to be in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. And we're going to burn off basically all of this fuel. So our periapsis is going to go down over the first half of this and go back up towards the end of this burn. That's understood. I'm keeping an eye on our overall altitude. We're going to want to furl our photovoltaic panels soon. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. We've got plenty of electric charge, so that's not a concern. So we're slowing down nicely. And we're still going fairly fast, but it's not, like, tremendously fast on this return now. Okay, I'm watching our periapsis here. Periapsis is a bit on the low side. Is a lot on the low side, actually. Let's take ourselves to radial out, because that didn't do as much radial out as I was expecting. So let's position ourselves right up over here, and you can see that our periapsis is coming up. We're just burning our last little bit of fuel here in this up vector, just trying to raise our periapsis somewhat. Okay, 16 kilometers is what we've got. So we're just going to have to roll with it from here. We'll jettison that, and we'll put ourselves into surface velocity minus. Excellent. So we've got our heat shield here. We're only coming in at 2,800 meters per second. That's not too bad, actually. We're going to start having some drag very shortly. I want to collect all of this data, and we're going to grab our gravity scan real quick here. And I grabbed an EVA report there from the upper atmosphere. That's a spicy one. I was intending for that to be from low orbit, but we dipped into the atmosphere there, and that's fine. So we're at this point beginning to lose some speed. Yeah, you can see the plasma sheath starting to build up. That heat is spicy. I think we're going to lose that Science Junior. It's okay. If we lose the Science Junior, it's fine. We're continuing to slow down. We've got a blader on our re-entry module, so I'm not terribly concerned about that. The re-entry module is starting to feel a little bit of overheat, but we're slowing down a lot at this point. This is a pretty energetic re-entry, but it's, I think, fine. The heat shield is still mostly doing its job, even though it's not attached to us at this moment. We've been losing that Science Junior a lot on these re-entries. That's interesting. But yeah, it's really not too much of a problem. You can see at this point, we're now well below suborbital, and we're actually probably going to be coming down in this water, which is convenient. So 1,600 meters per second, and everything's looking good at this point. Yeah, we lose the Science Junior. That's not ideal. We'll see if the rest of this is recoverable. It may or may not be. Well, actually, it'll be debris, won't it? It'll probably be debris. Wait, it wasn't the Science Junior that we lost. I didn't even know that in the plasma sheath. Okay, that's good to know. Let's get our drogues out. We'll grab our crew report and our temperature scan. We'll grab the EVA report soon enough. Okay, so that's absolutely wonderful then. I'm wondering what burned off. I don't see anything. I don't know what exploded, but something exploded. It's fine. So we're going to get our main chute out here, and let's just head on down. We're going to wait until our chutes expand here, until we get tenoned out here. So the drogues are going to deploy here in a moment, but we do want to get that EVA report. So drogues are going to deploy now. And we're moving quite slowly, so that's good. And we performed a spacewalk in orbit of the sun, escaped the gravitational influence of the sun, and collected some screen messages. So that's going to be a decent amount of science overall, and that'll help pay for this, but I don't think it'll entirely pay for that for that flight. So that's a little problematic for sure. Because we need money at this point. So that's absolutely noted. So at this point, I want to get Tenend to EVA, and we're going to grab our EVA report here. There we go. And now we're going to splash down and recover this. So it's clear at this point that we need oxygen scrubbers, and we need some form of water reclamation as well. And probably, I don't know how we're going to do food. Food is going to be much tougher. I'll have to think about that one. Let's grab our data from here, and that'll be perfect. Mystery goo observation is fine. Gravity scan is fine. Material study, yep, we'll do it. And then Tenend is going to EVA into the cold ocean. Excellent. And let's just recover this. So that's going to be a decent chunk of science, and we now know that we're going to need quite a lot of additional work on the life support aspect of this, but we don't need to work on the launcher. So that means that future launches are likely unsimulated, unless we make significant changes to the launcher itself. And I will be much more explicit about whether I'm considering it to be a simulated or unsimulated launch. So that is the way that's going to work going forward. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes. Ooh, that's a good chunk of science. In the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.